Next on BYUSN, how does one win, albeit a big win, alter your hopes for BYU men's basketball heading into the West Coast Conference Tournament?
And fresh off of scoring his 1,000th Division I point, Rudi Williams joins us to discuss his incredible senior night.
Welcome to BYU Sports Nation, presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. It is Monday, February 27th. Wherever and however you're connected, great to have you with us. I am Spencer Linton, teamed up alongside a man who I've heard can consume a chocolate cougar tail in under 1 minute, Jerem Jordan.
I've never been in the competitive eating game. In fact, in high school, one of my friends, Scott Kemp, said, hey, come down to this local restaurant. They're doing a little contest who can eat the most ribs the fastest or something. And I said, no, I'm good. He's like, but it's free ribs. I'm like, I don't want to be rushed. I'm a slow eater. I just want to enjoy it, you know? So, yeah, I know Dave McCann's a huge chocolate donut fan, so he loves the cougar tail. I am a fan of both, although the chocolate is a nice alternate there. I would like to see it around a lot more, kind of like black jerseys, love that. Some, chocolate cougar tails. That would be great to have in the repertoire, not just special, have around more often. Do you like the chocolate cougar tail?
Variation. I'm all about variation.
You want more flavors, or we good with those?
I could go for like a strawberry frosting one.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, we showed that one full screen where we had like 16 different options a few months back, and I was like, too many.
Yeah, 16's a bit much. We had some fun with that, but yeah. Okay, on today's show, was Saturday's game the best performance of the season for BYU men's basketball? It was incredible. It's up there with some of the best BYU's had all year. You can talk about Creighton, Dayton, Utah, LMU, San Francisco. There have been some good ones. Was it the best? We'll discuss. Rudi Williams is in studio. What an incredible performance he had in that game. 21 points, 7 assists. It felt like in the first 6 minutes. He will join us in studio. Plus, 6 minutes with Mark Pope after the game, his conversation with Spencer Saturday. The latest in NIT bracketology against my will. And is Spencer starting a new boy band? The BYU photo you have to see. Here are today's headlines.
BYU men's basketball beats San Francisco 87-61. Dominant performance on senior night. Rudi Williams leading the way with 21 points, 15 of 16 from the free throw line. BYU secures the 5 seed at the West Coast Conference Tournament. They'll now face the winner of Portland and San Diego on Saturday.
On Friday.
Friday night. That's what I meant.
Women's basketball lost 58-51 to number 18 Gonzaga, led by a career high from sophomore Emma Calvert. The Cougars finished the regular season with a rescheduled game. It's a big one with Portland tonight, 6 Eastern on BYU TV. Spencer, Kristen, and the gang from the Marriott Center in a rescheduled game. Kind of a weird one, but seeding matters. BYU wins, they're the 4. If they lose, they're the 5.
8th-ranked men's volleyball wins at Concordia Irvine on Friday and Saturday. The Cougars sweeping the Eagles on Friday. Hang on in 5 sets on Saturday, winning that 5th set 15-12. BYU now 10-4 on the season.
Men and women's track and field competed in Provo and Washington over the weekend. Kaylee Faulkner broke her own school record in the pole vault by clearing 4.4 meters. Incredible stuff. Lucas Bonds finished 2nd overall in the mile on the men's side with a 3:57.11. Remember when it was like impossible to break the 4-minute barrier? BYU's got people doing it like Lucas Bonds.
Fantastic stuff. BYU softball competed at the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic in Cathedral City, California over the weekend. They lost 4-1 to San Diego State on Friday. Bounced back with the win against Long Beach State 6-5 on Saturday.
Baseball, unfortunately, lost 2 games by 1 run. 2-1, 11-10 against Louisiana in games 3 and 4 of that series. Cougars started 2-0. They've lost 6 straight. Cougars do play at UVU tomorrow. There's snow in the forecast. I'm very interested to see how that turns out.
Can you say reschedule the game? Gymnastics defeats Utah State on their senior night in front of a nice Friday night crowd at the Smithfield House. Final gymnastics meet in the Smithfield House ever. Everything will be in the Marriott Center moving forward as they move into the Big 12.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Did they require more space or something?
I just think they want a bigger venue.
They want a bigger venue.
To welcome in the Big 12 opponents.
Wow. Okay. End of an era in Smithfield House there.
It was nostalgic for sure.
Okay.
BYU scores a 196.450. Mina Margraf finished with a 9.9 on the beam. Only Cougar to hit a 9.9 mark on the night. Heidi Schooley posted a career-high 9.875 on the floor.
Fun picture from that meet that we will show you later. Women's golf tees off in the Gun Rock Invitational this morning in Sacramento at the Del Paso Country Club. Del Paso! The tournament runs today and tomorrow.
As for Women's soccer, they opened their spring season on Saturday, defeating Utah Valley 4-2 and Weber State 2-0. Are we surprised by any of this?
Since the UVU loss, BYU's defeated UVU in the NCAA tournament and now in the spring game. It's just, they're not going to lose to UVU ever again. Paul Lasike and the Utah Warriors defeated the Dallas Jackals 33-25 in Major League Rugby. Home opener for the local Utah Warriors. Lasike was fantastic. Had a try assist. 10 carries for 105 meters.
Well done, Paul. Tomasi Laulile and the Arlington Renegades lose to the Houston Roughnecks in XFL play 23-14 on Sunday night. All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
The Cougars say so long to the West Coast Conference here at the Marriott Center. He'll hammer it home with two hands. To dominate the Dogs.
The end of an era. BYU plays their final West Coast Conference game at the Marriott Center.
Is the Big 12 logo in the paint yet?
You asked me that on Saturday night. I checked. I still saw the WCC
Can you imagine
there.
we wander over there? It's there. We're like, yeah!
We need everybody off the court. We got to make some changes.
That'd be offensive to the league. I get it. But in a couple of weeks, you could certainly do it if you want.
BYU now headed to Las Vegas. Friday night game as the number 5 seed. And coming off a performance that just might have been tops this season. An incredible, complete performance in a game that BYU had to have. So let's ask the question, Jerem.
Ask it.
Was that indeed BYU's best performance of the season?
It was pretty good. So it's going to be an argument between how BYU played in that situation, needing a win at home to get to the 5 seed, versus what I think, which is, no, it's not the best performance. The best performance was beating Creighton. Creighton's 16 in net right now. That's BYU's one quad one win. I know that Creighton was down its top player, but BYU, that's not BYU's problem. BYU went in and won that game and kind of held on at the end. To have a quad one win like that is awesome. It shows you the ceiling. Now, BYU and St. Mary's Gonzaga, had BYU defeated either of those teams, that would have been the best performance.
Yes.
And when you lose, you don't want to say it's a great performance, but those were good performances by BYU. But you can't have a loss be the top one. So, yeah, I say Creighton. Don't forget about the 23-point comeback against Dayton on a neutral court. That's a quad 2 win. Smashing Utah, always a good thing. Not the best win of the year, but Utah 69 in net, so it's a quad 2 game there. Those are the 3 quad 1 wins for BYU, or quad 1 and 2 wins for BYU. It was a great performance, though. Winning that game in the way that BYU did was the perfect way to go out of the regular season and at home. And Rudi Williams getting the start. I thought Dallin would still start. Nope. Rudi got to start, not because he's a senior. I think because they were looking for a new look. You're in a 4-game losing streak. They switched it up. That was a good move. One that you called earlier in the week when we were talking, and I was like, wait, what? It was a good move. And Rudi was spectacular. 21 points, 7 assists, Foose 17 and 14, Gideon George 12, Jackson Robinson 12. He played tremendous defense on Tyrell Roberts and everybody else. Shabazz had to volume shoot his way to 21 points. BYU destroyed San Francisco. It was awesome, dude.
He finally struggled against BYU.
He finally did. He didn't score 30. Someone didn't score 30 in this game. It feels like someone always does. I could see the argument for why it's the best, given the situation. 4-game losing streak, need to win, 5 seed senior night. But I still think the Creighton win is the best performance of the season because it was in Vegas. Because guess what? BYU needs to go in Vegas and summon that same energy to win a couple of games and get to Monday.
I love that you brought up Rudi Williams' stat line. 7 assists. He had all 7 of those assists in the first half.
And it was like the first half of the first half. Like it felt so fast.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
BYU made shots to help in that regard, but Rudi Williams was solid in his senior night performance. Was the team better in this performance than any other game this year? The only thing that gives me hesitation on the Creighton scenario is that BYU led by 12 points with like a minute and a half to go, and then needed a Dallin Hall comeback bucket to win that game, and Creighton was down their best player and had their second best player foul out with about 8 minutes to go.
That's his fault.
So it didn't feel like the overall best performance per se. Best win, no doubt.
Which is the question.
Best win, no doubt.
I just like quad 1 wins a lot.
Yeah.
I just really do.
And I love the Utah win as well. And I thought that overall was a pretty good performance, specifically from Rudi Williams that day.
At the time, Utah was top 30
Yes.
net. That was a quad 1 of the
So
moment.
if it's not Saturday, for me, it's probably the Utah game at home. I felt like that was truly a complete game. And we all kind of thought back in December, this is what this team is capable of. Rudi Williams is capable of doing this. And that's why it was frustrating, because we saw these moments. BYU beats Creighton. BYU beats Utah at home. And that was kind of the high. And then
take St. Mary's and Gonzaga to the brink. 1 point.
You've seen what the team is capable of.
Yep.
And then just some frustrating, head-scratching losses to the likes of South Dakota and Pepperdine, and getting blown out twice by Santa Clara, albeit Santa Clara is a good team.
Santa Clara's good.
You just want to see BYU compete better. Yeah. But it's about matchups.
Yeah, like you didn't play Santa Clara as tough as you played St. Mary's and Gonzaga.
Why? And why?
In both places.
Right?
What?
Such a fickle sport.
Bad matchup.
I love that BYU out-rebounded San Francisco by 20.
That's an incredible number.
And they went plus 13 in assists, 22-9 in that regard. And they only turned the ball over 10 times. You win by 26. You beat a team that has been, for the past few years, just a tough matchup for you, especially on the guard line. You mentioned BYU's defense against Tyrell Roberts and Shabazz.
Yeah, Tyrell Roberts had a tough night because BYU played great defense.
I hate to be a prisoner of the moment, and maybe there's some recency bias here, but I'm just looking at, statistically speaking, I don't know what's a better performance by this BYU team all year.
And let's be honest, you want it late, you want it now. You don't want your best performance to have been in December against Creighton and Vegas.
They needed it now.
Utah.
They needed it in the worst way.
They needed it now, and we would have taken a 1-point win. But, yeah, BYU did some great stuff, which brings us to topic 2. After Saturday's win, Rudi Williams discussed what the win means for the West Coast Conference Tournament. Rudy? Okay. How much did Saturday's performance increase your optimism for the West Coast Conference Tournament?
It helps. It helps because it locked in what we have been discussing for what feels like 3 weeks. Just get to the 4 or 5 seed and have the opportunity to play LMU on Saturday. Take care of San Diego or Portland. I mapped it out a while ago, and I was just like, this needs to happen.
Boom, boom, boom. It all happened.
This needs to happen.
It all happened. This is what we wanted. This.
Yes.
Exactly this.
Yes. This is what BYU's path needed to be to have any shot at making a run in Las Vegas, I feel.
Yeah.
And
you're the only one. Yeah, no, we all agree.
I like that BYU had success against Portland and San Diego.
They should. They're the 8-9s.
They're good matchups for BYU personnel-wise. LMU's a good matchup for BYU. Yeah, the Cougars beat the Lions by 28 in Provo.
In the last game they played.
And competed hard on the road. Losing by 5 in L.A. But
that was in January, and this BYU team's, went on a 4-game losing streak. But yes, the other USF performance was LMU.
Yes.
Blew them out.
Yeah.
At home.
I'm telling you, this is the path for BYU to get to Monday.
This is the way.
And I like
Wednesday.
that St. Mary's, I know it's upcoming.
It's the week it comes out.
I like the St. Mary's is on the 1 line. I still, like, if BYU gets an opportunity to play in the semifinals on Monday, I like a matchup with St. Mary's better than I do Gonzaga. I just feel like BYU matches up personnel-wise a little bit better with the Gales than they do with the Bulldogs, although they're both super good teams.
The matchup has always been better with Gonzaga in my mind from we run similar stuff. But St. Mary's is not as deep and not as overall talented. Gonzaga's always more talented than St. Mary's, but St. Mary's executes better. And this year, St. Mary's has better guards than Gonzaga. Typically, we're like, no, Gonzaga has an NBA guard sitting there.
Isn't that interesting?
They do not. They do not. And I don't count Strother as a guard.
Strother is a wing.
Yeah.
He's more of a forward that is just,
but listen,
he's an NBA player.
When Malachi Smith comes off the bench and has like 20 like he did Saturday or whatever, they're tough to beat. Malachi Smith didn't do hardly anything in Pro Bowl. But yeah, it's going to be a fun tourney. And I, like you, am feeling some real optimism. and someone tweeted the Hawkeye gif from Endgame that's like, don't give me hope. No. When I said that BYU team Saturday could go to the semifinals easily. Now, will that team show up on Friday and Saturday? Probably not, because that's the best version of BYU potentially that we saw. But can they show up in a way there? You can beat San Diego Portland. You played them once. You won in the Slim Jim. You beat Portland at home. Granted, they didn't have Tyler Robertson, their best player that night. Still crushed them. Again, not BYU's fault he didn't play, but just a note. Then you play LMU. We like that matchup, given what we said. And then you get to Monday. If BYU gets to Monday, and this would be my answer to a question that I've been saying we're going to discuss in Vegas and later this week, is if BYU gets to Monday, check, you did it, fantastic, good job. We don't like that BYU's playing on Friday per se. I'd love to be a top 4 seed and enter on Saturday. But it is what it is. BYU captured something on Saturday, ended the 4-game losing streak, avoided a 5-game losing streak for the first time since 04-05, by the way. Good thing BYU avoided that, because that stinks. And now, if you get to Monday, if I'm St. Mary's, I'm like, you know what I don't want? BYU barreling in here with 2 wins on this court when we haven't played.
Sure. A
day of rest, which we take very seriously on the Sabbath.
Literally.
We don't practice. You can do a walkthrough, but you can't do a practice. In the hotel. In the hotel's fine, but not in the gym. Unless you're women's volleyball in Colorado Springs, and you probably played yesterday. But anyway, then St. Mary's is sitting there on Monday, and they're going, oh, boy. They played us so tough. We have got to bring it to
momentum.
And then what if BYU does something there? If BYU can get to Monday, they got a shot at the NIT. If they win Monday, they're going to the NIT.
19 wins.
Yeah.
See, I feel like beating San Diego or Portland and then beating LMU, I feel like LMU, BYU, is like a play-in game for the NIT.
It might be, and that might sort of save how we feel about this season. Because if you don't make the NIT, for BYU standard, you stink. But if you get to the NIT, hey, at least that, yeah, it's not what we wanted. We wanted like the 5 quad 4 and quad 3 and 4 losses, the 5 of those. If you just lose 1 and you add 4 more wins to this resume, you are clearly in the NIT. We're not feeling as frustrated about everything. Those 4 losses hurt. Now, if you had added, 1 St. Mary's or Gonzaga win in there somewhere, we'd probably feel a little differently too. BYU's not far. As frustrating and as weird as this season has been, BYU's not as far as we think from being at least kind of automatic NIT team that didn't sniff the tourney, that at least would be something closer to what we were hoping for. Like UVU and South Dakota a long time ago. If BYU can get to Monday, we're feeling pretty good.
17 wins, 14 losses. You get to 19 and you beat LMU? Yeah, in a weird way, I just feel like that is an elimination game for the NIT.
Might be.
Like whoever wins that game, okay, yeah, let's take that team from the West Coast Conference. The other team, sorry, have fun in the CBI or the CIT.
And LMU would be happy with postseason.
They should be.
They don't make the postseason.
They've taken some nice steps forward. They won at Gonzaga.
Santa Clara is the dark horse in this tourney.
And they beat St. Mary's.
NIT, yeah.
LMU beat St. Mary's and Gonzaga.
LMU and Santa Clara are scary. Yeah.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, we want the Lions.
Maybe we shouldn't feel so strongly about wanting LMU. I don't know.
We wanted you.
This is the path. This is the path
Cam
for BYU.
Shelton and the gang. Kelly Leopepe, we want to see your mullet on Saturday night.
Our question of the day, and a reminder, what's trending, is brought to you by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event. How did Saturday's win over San Francisco change your outlook for BYU in the approaching West Coast Conference tournament? Parker Peterson on Facebook answers, if they play like that during the tournament, the Cougs have a chance to make a run in the tournament and possibly make it to the championship game.
They got a shot, just like Parker Peterson. That's a fun name. Like you, huge Spider-Man fan automatically? Like, is that what we're thinking here?
Okay. I was wondering if that's the tie you were going to make there.
No, I was talking about Batman. Women's basketball wraps up the regular season today. Rescheduled game with Portland, 6 Eastern time on BYU TV. Big game. BYU wins, 4 seed, loses 5 seed.
Up next, he scored 21 points on senior night in front of just a fantastic crowd. Rudi Williams in studio to recap his senior night and preview the West Coast Conference tournament. This is BYU Sports Nation.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event.
They prefer to be bringing the heat, getting set for success, demonstrating their drive. But when their blood and sweat turns to tears or anything else, we lay the groundwork for BYU's athletes to hit the ground running again, and you as well. Intermountain Healthcare, official medical provider for BYU Athletics.
Welcome aboard, everyone.
And what is the purpose of the mission?
To collect a jar of dust from the surface of Neptune because the crazy billionaire funding this mission thinks it has life-prolonging properties.
What is it now?
Yeah, that sounds just as weird in space as it did on Earth.
They have been driving me nuts.
Given the right opportunity, anyone can be a hero.
What? Yeah, what?
I already know what it is. I already know what it is. I already know what it is. Yeah.
Rudy for three.
Yeah.
Good!
Yeah. Off the rim. Got it off the rim.
Banks it in! It must be the Cougs night.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation. We are live in Studio B on a winning Monday following BYU men's basketball's dominant victory over San Francisco. The Cougars now secure the 5 seed going to Las Vegas for the West Coast Conference Tournament. Alongside Jerem Jordan, I'm Spencer Linton. That man you just saw highlights from, he's in studio. Rudi Williams back on the show. Rudy, congratulations again on a fantastic senior night in front of an awesome crowd. What was that experience like for you after you've processed it over the weekend?
Now looking back at it, I've had a couple days. It was really fun to go out in front of the Marriott Center like that. You know, obviously the season has been really up and down, but it was good to send them off on the right note and, you know, have some momentum going into Vegas. We were just talking during the break, but when were you told you would start, and what did that mean to you? Because I think you've gotten used to coming off the bench at this point, right? I think Coach told me probably like 2 or 3 days before the game, so like it was probably the Tuesday practice. And then I was like, oh, you know, he's being dramatic and all that. But, you know, it's just kind of how senior night goes. And, you know, it was okay. It was okay. I would beg to differ. I thought it was great. What did you love about the performance that you were able to have? And what do you think this means moving forward? I just loved, you know, that we're just kind of finding our groove and starting to play well when we need to. You know, you got to be your best probably in March. So that's good for us. And it just means that we're going to go into Vegas hot, you know. Like, I feel like we all have our confidence. We're going to have a good prep week this week, and we'll be ready for Friday night. Are you going to start again, you think? That's probably Coach's call, you know, whether I start or not. I don't really have a problem with it. I'm still going to play and be me. It was so good, I wonder why not, though. But to you, you don't really care, you're saying? No, I've kind of just embraced the whole, like, 6-man kind of role. And I kind of like it because, you know, guys probably underestimate me or something when I come off the bench, and then, you know, I'm ready to go firing. Rudi Williams is with us on BYU Sports Nation. Coach Pope told me after the game that you are, and these are his words, a generational teammate. And he will talk about you when he is talking to any team that he approaches about how to be a good teammate for the next 10 years, he said. He said, I want to tell every BYU player about this for the next 10 years, that Rudi is truly a team-first guy. How do you do that? How do you take that right approach? Because you could start every game and be mad that you don't start every game, but you found your role and have come into some success in doing so. So what advice do you have for players moving forward about how to be a generational teammate? My advice for, you know, like future players would probably be just lose yourself in the team, you know, just understand that the team is bigger than you are, and, you know, just do whatever it takes for your team to have success, you know. When I got the bump to coming off the bench, I was probably a little bit sour about it for like a day, maybe. But then after that, I just started to embrace it. And, you know, I started to find the positive in it. And I kind of embraced all that. And then it started going well for me. So if you didn't be at least a little sour, you probably weren't as human as you thought. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you're a competitor. You came here to be a very important piece of this team. So then pregame, you know you're going to start. You know you have family in town. What were the emotions like of that? And tell us a little bit about the family that came all the way from Hamilton. I love the sign
YHM, which is the airport in Hamilton, to Provo, PBU. who from your family came here?
Okay, so from left to right, that little baby, that's my niece. Her name's Delina. She just recently turned 1. I think she's like 14 months now.
Nice kicks, by
So
the way.
cute.
Yeah, and then that's my sister-in-law, Lenny. And then this is my baby sister, Shalane. She's 14 now. Obviously, that's me. And then that's my mom, Beverly. And then my youngest brother, Radane.
Very nice. That's awesome, man.
Your mom is lovely. I had a chance to talk with her after the game. And she's like just emanating with pride over you, Rudy. I thought that was so fun.
And where is she from again?
She's originally born in Jamaica.
Jamaica. Okay, yeah, that's right. Very cool.
What was that like to have them watching you play your final game and for you to play well in front of them?
It felt really good, honestly, because this was my mom and my family's first trip to Provo. They made the trip to Bahamas earlier in the season, but they never got to see the Marriott Center in person, and they never got to see Provo. So it was a big deal for them. Myself, personally, I just tried to focus more on the game because I realized how big Saturday was, so I didn't really want to be distracted by my family being in town and senior night and all the dramatics of it. But I feel like I did a good job managing and juggling all that stuff. So.
How do you stay focused? Because it'd be super easy to be thinking about the fam in the stands and the pregame ceremony and getting the start and all that. How do you stay dialed in to have arguably your best game of the year?
I turned my phone off like Saturday morning, and I just really wasn't on my phone too much. Just put it on Do Not Disturb. That always helps me.
What'd you do the rest of the day? I guess shoot around and meals and pregame stuff to stay locked in. Were you watching a movie or a book? Like, what did you do in those spare hours?
So early before shoot around, I went to the hotel to go say hi to my family, my mom and stuff. And then when we came back from shoot around, I just sat down, showered, ate, and then I was watching George Mason versus Dayton.
Okay.
I like to watch the college games before our games.
Sure.
So I would just turn on ESPN and whatever game's on, I'll watch it.
How do you take what BYU accomplished on Saturday and maintain that level 6 days later on a Friday night game in Las Vegas? We're all looking for that answer because it was so good on Saturday. So what do you do to maintain that?
I would say just taking a day at a time. So we have practice today at 2 o'clock, and we're going to try to make that the best practice of the year, and then we're going to have practice tomorrow, and then we'll keep going until we get to Vegas on Friday. But I would just say taking it one day at a time and, not really getting too ahead of ourselves.
Speaking of practice, I had a couple of your teammates.
This was great.
Tell me,
I love this.
On Saturday night, Spencer, we had the worst practice ever on Thursday. Like, it was terrible. And then we had the best practice ever on Friday. And so I think there's something to that, right? It carried over from Friday to Saturday. How do you have good practices all week?
Well, hold on. Do you need a crappy practice to have a great game, maybe?
It's a good thing. I don't know.
I might dribble the ball off my foot today to see what coach says, get Coach Pope.
Like on Wednesday, you're like, we'll just mail it in so that Thursday we're dialed in. No, that's the funny thing. This will be your first and last time, right? And for BYU in the West Coast Conference Tournament of, okay, here we go. And you're playing on Friday. And we were talking about the path seems to be somewhat ideal for BYU. You're playing 2 teams that you already beat. Granted, you got to beat them again. And then LMU, the last time you played them, you played great like San Francisco. And then you played St. Mary's tough twice. Like, obviously one game at a time from your guys' perspective. But it seems like you're on a good side of the bracket right now. What do you think kind of the draw for BYU here?
Well, when I did all the studying and seeing what would happen if we won or lost on Saturday, I kind of liked our chances being on the other side of the bracket. So that's why I said Saturday was super big for us. Obviously, like you said, San Diego and Portland, those are 2 tough teams. They're both talented offensively, and we're going to have to beat either one again, which is going to be tough. But then after that, we look forward to the LMU game. And we made adjustments after losing to them the first time. So I like that matchup with us as well. But we're just going to have to take it one game at a time, but we'll be ready.
And then the Zags in the title game. That's very exciting. Let's go.
How much does the idea of an opportunity against LMU potentially and another opportunity against St. Mary's and maybe another opportunity against Gonzaga drive you? Just the idea that you could see them again.
I would just say it drives me because, we lost LMU and then we lost 2 close ones to St. Mary's as well, and then the Zags got us both times. So those are both all 3 of those teams that we'll have to face. We know that, if we don't play well, they can beat us. So I feel like that'll be our motivation, and obviously we know it's win or go home from here on out. So I don't think anyone's ready to stop playing games.
Spencer told us that he observed when you came off the court a long kind of conversation with Mark Pope where he was kind of pointing around and looking at stuff. What did he tell you in that moment?
You know, he was just telling me that he was proud of me, good game, but he was just telling me to soak up and embrace the Marriott Center one last time. I didn't really realize that it was my last time checking out because, you know, I kind of black out during the games. But once he grabbed me and pulled me and told me that, I was like, I just looked in the crowd and I was like, wow, that was really the last time. And, you know, I'm glad we went out with a win, and I'm glad I got to play well one last time in front of the MC. And
he kind of pointed at you like, hey, acknowledge the crowd here, which is a very cool moment for you and Gideon.
It was really cool, honestly, you know, getting like a standing ovation. I felt like LeBron or Jordan. So that was fun. And, you know, I'm going to miss the Marriott Center a lot.
People appreciate greatness everywhere. But BYU basketball fans love when they see good basketball. They saw good basketball on Saturday. What did it mean to go out like that? Because that's about as good, that's about as well as I think you guys can play. You guys were all over it everywhere.
I feel like it meant a lot because I feel like we just owed that to the fans and, you know, Cougar Nation, because obviously this season, like I said, has been a roller coaster. And they were there when we were playing terrible. They were there when we were playing bad, and they never left, and they stayed supporting us. So I feel like we owed that to them to give them one good last showing.
Rudi Williams is on BYU Sports Nation. Again, Portland or San Diego. It's a unique preparation week because you do have to focus on two teams. You don't know who you're going to play. So how do you do that and be ready for Friday when you go into Thursday not knowing exactly who you're going to play the next day?
I feel like we're just going to get a little bit of both teams, a focus of both teams in practice this week. Luckily for us, we're going to leave on Thursday, and we're going to go straight to the arena and watch that game. So we'll know who we're playing by the end of the night, and we'll be ready. You know, our coaches, they're on that with the scout. I was just shooting in the gym, and Coach Figure, he's already doing San Diego scout just in case we play San Diego. And I'm sure Coach Cahill is doing the Portland scout just in case we play Portland. So the coaches will have us ready.
You guys went to Vegas this year, and you won a game. It was the quad one win on the schedule in Creighton. Is there any summoning that Vegas energy going into this one?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm sure there's just a buzz about Vegas, and there's a certain excitement. Me personally, I love going there. You know, there's nothing for me to do there because that's not who I am. But like just being in Vegas and being around all that hype, it gets me going, and I love playing there.
That's why you fit in with BYU, Rudy. Most of the BYU fans are like, sorry, what is that? Yeah.
How would you explain March basketball from your perspective?
I would say unpredictable, honestly. In my 3 years of college basketball, I've seen the craziest stuff happen, you know, watching games, March Madness, but I've also witnessed it myself. Like last season, I made a Hail Mary game-winning shot that, you know, people may have said it was a fluke or probably shouldn't have went in or not, but like I know anything can happen in March, and this is when you got to be your best.
Rudy, congratulations again on a fantastic regular season for you and a way to close it out. Now it's on to March. Let's give you some BYU Sports Nation karma to take to Las Vegas.
Appreciate that.
As you get ready for San Diego and Portland. Thanks for the time, man.
Sir, thank you.
We'll see you down there. Okay, the season finale of BYU Basketball with Mark Pope is tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern Time, as the Cougs get ready for the West Coast Conference Tournament in Las Vegas, taking on the winner of Portland and San Diego. Check it out on the BYU TV app, 8:30 Eastern.
And what's the deal with Fesi Satake calling Trevin Nell, I think, an old man? Oh, he said I was an old man?
Yeah, there's a picture. There's a picture.
Boy bands on topic next on BYU Sports Nation.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Sports, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
If you're looking to build your brand awareness and increase market share as BYU moves into the Big 12, this is the place, BYU Athletics. We can provide the tools you need to make sure your company is seen and heard. BYU Athletics is where you can align your products and services with loyal fans that cheer for our Cougars. And they can also help your business win. Learn more about what a partnership with BYU Athletics and your company will look like. After all, this is the place. Email sponsorship at byu.edu today.
Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork sells Ford vehicles including the F-150, the pickup designed for work and play. Tim Daly Ford maintains a large inventory, providing more choices for selecting an F-150 with the power and engineering to carry and tow heavy loads. The F-150's design offers comfort, safety, and a range of options to choose from. Think Ford, think Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork.
Trio Orem Senior Living believes in empowering seniors to live life to the fullest. We help eliminate stress out of daily life. when you live at Trio. Less time focusing on housework means you can socialize at one of our many events, with safety in mind, of course. And did we mention our spacious apartments with modern amenities? Learn more about setting up a private tour at TrioOrem.com.
Before I was a coach at BYU, or before I was even a player, I was a BYU fan.
We've got great energy as a team, but we have even better energy because of our fans, and it's absolutely magical.
When you hear the crowd roar, that makes it more exciting, more of an adrenaline rush.
The roar of the crowd, you can feel it on the floor, you can feel that energy, and it's unlike anywhere else in the country.
BYU Sports, it's all about the fans.
Follow BYU Sports Nation on social media if you're so inclined. Yeah, there you go. We got these. Yep, there we go. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
He is Jeremiah. I'm Spencer. You know what time it is. Let's whip it. Cougar whiparound presented by Maersk, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
Told we have to do this. In the latest NIT bracketology from John Templeton, BYU's not in the field, but is one of 5 teams, quote, lurking. Creepy. Will BYU get to the NIT, Spence?
The Cougars are lurking.
Hey, NIT. I see you.
You get to Monday, you're in.
Yeah, probably.
You beat LMU, you're in.
Probably.
You win 2 of 3 against LMU. I feel like it's the pathway for BYU to get, I don't care what seed, but they're in the NIT.
You get to
Monday.
You get to 20, I'm feeling way better.
Super good.
And if you have a top 10 net win as your last win,
oh man.
Hey, why not just get to Tuesday and just win the whole thing?
That's the thing. That's the other thing.
Just get to Tuesday. That would be unbelievable.
If BYU got through Monday, then it's like
one game to the tourney.
Like you need one win
to March Madness.
And then you would end a 22-year streak of not winning a conference tournament championship.
There have been so many good teams at BYU, many better than this one, who did not do that, including his Jimmerness, Lee Kamard, Tyler Hawes, Eric, these guys.
They didn't win conference tournament.
None of them won the conference tournament. If this team somehow did that, that'd be something we'd never forget.
Just get to Monday.
Just get to the semis, and we will humbly bow out.
Let's go.
And perhaps go to the NIT. But no, if we got to Monday, we'd get greedy, dude. We'd be like, let's go.
Hey, they played St. Mary's tough both times.
Yes, they did.
Could happen.
We'd get, zealous as crap.
Speaking of seeding and potential in the tournament, BYU women's basketball takes on Portland, the second-place team today.
Big game tonight.
Portland got boat raced a little bit by San Diego on Saturday.
I think they were distracted by all the travel
and
the change and the switch.
Now they got to come to Provo after a weird game on a Monday.
Yep.
If BYU wins, they're the 4 seed. But is the difference between the 4 and the 5 seed really that much of a big deal?
No, because you're going to match up with San Francisco either way. Like, San Francisco, BYU, kind of the 4 or 5. It's whether you have to play a game before you play San Francisco. So no. What do you want BYU to kind of warm up with that one game? I don't. Sure, it's on BYU TV. It's all on BYU TV. Whatever.
I want BYU to have the opportunity to not have to play San Francisco potentially. Meaning, if the 8 or 9 seed could beat San Francisco, then BYU gets the 8 or 9 seed.
Right. I am assuming San Francisco
on Saturday
will win that game.
And San Francisco's lost some head-scratching games. They've lost to the 8-9 seed combo. I'm trying to remember who specifically it was, but they just recently lost to Pepperdine recently. Like it gets a little bit weird.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that maybe San Francisco loses on Friday. That's why I want BYU on Saturday in that 4 seed.
Yes, it would be nice if the Cougars could do that because 8-9 is I don't know who loses the tiebreak, but Santa Clara, St. Mary's tied. Pepperdine is the 9.
Still okay. So Pepperdine's a 9 seed.
Yeah.
Pepperdine just beat San Francisco.
There you go. BYU men's volleyball 1-5 at Concordia Saturday night on a stuff block from Luke Benson and Gavin Julian. Is this a perfect ending to a match, or would you prefer an ace or a kill, or like a service error?
The block to win a match
and a comeback, by the way, for the Cougs.
To me, and the way they blocked it too, it was just so much power.
The stuff block is
like that to me is like the best. That's the best way to win because the team that you beat is already
decimated emotionally that they lost the match, but to lose that way, it's just like, oh, salt in the wound.
A block is almost better than an ace or a kill, and it's like you tried to do something, and I prevented that. We prevented that. As opposed to a kill or ace where it's like, this is coming to you.
Yeah.
This is at you. Right?
Give me the block.
A block is like you tried and you were denied.
Give me that all the time.
Yeah.
Nate Austin against Gonzaga. Give me that block.
Although in basketball, I'd rather have someone yam on someone than block someone, right? That's better.
BYU basketball, speaking of, posted this fantastic photo over the weekend of Atiki Aliatiki and Noah Waterman standing next to BYU gymnast Elise Rollins with the caption, 6'11" versus 4'11". Slight difference. How would you caption this? Wrong answers only.
You are either too tall or too short to ride this roller coaster. Now, Elise is barefoot. So that accentuates this already. Like if she had, shoes on, give another inch or two or whatever.
I just kept thinking, I'm not sure what the caption is, but when I saw the photo, I just thought, this is like Lord of the Rings. This is the Hobbit.
Frodo.
Yeah. So I don't want to say Frodo because I feel like it's almost like no, I don't know. Maybe
you're a Bilbo guy.
No, I just don't want to make fun of Elise's height per se, but that's what I thought. I was like, this is giants from Lord of the Rings, and this is Frodo Baggins.
Yeah, it's all good. Listen, every time I talk to men's volleyball players, they're all like 5 to 10 inches taller than me. They stand on the court, and I stand on like that first little row. It's all good. BYU Photo took this picture on Saturday of Carson.
This? Lord of the Beams, because she's the
Oh!
Let's go!
Nice!
Yeah.
BYU Photo took this photo on Saturday of Carson Williams, Trevin Nell, Tanner Toolson, and you, Spencer. To which KSL's Sean Walker tweeted, name that boy band. Festus Sitake, the passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach at BYU, responded with, new kids and one old man on the block. What's your response to Fessy publicly here?
Yeah, well, exactly what I tweeted. How dare you say that Trevin Nell is an old man?
Trevin Nell is only a junior.
How dare you? I know
world?
he's like an upperclassman, but like that's below the belt, Fessy. Like that's a cheap shot, bro.
You're going to get targeted across the middle of the field when you're not looking. Spring ball Fessy's just on the side.
So, some of my favorite responses. One tweeted in, why sink? Okay.
Why sink? Nice.
Also, questionable direction. One for all, but WON.
One for all?
Yeah, really good. People are so clever. I love it.
Wednesday, we have a gymnastics matinee at 1 Eastern. As Spencer informed us, this is the final meet in the Smith Fieldhouse for gymnastics ever. They're going to be in the Marriott Center starting next year. They're taking on the Seawolves of Alaska, who are coming for blood.
Beat the Seawolves.
1 Eastern on the BYU TV app Wednesday.
Up next, my post-game conversation with BYU head basketball coach Mark Pope. He's had a tough season, and he waxed on about opportunity ahead for this team. This is BYU Sports Nation.
Thanks, Daniel.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Maersk, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
Whether you want to rock your retirement on the court, on the snow, on the waves, or in the gym. At Mountain America, we're here to help you get things rolling. Learn more at macu.com/retirement. Mountain America, guiding you forward.
Quick crack. Wash all you want. Don't drive dirty.
That
thing is ours. Whoa! No one else can know about it until we figure out what it is. Agreed? Agreed. We're supposed to look out for each other. All this time, I've been searching for us.
It chose you for a reason.
We're in this together.
You're the best friends I've ever had.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Station. We are live in Studio B alongside Jerem Jordan. I am Spencer Linton. After BYU's dominant win on Saturday nights, I had a chance to speak with head coach Mark Pope about that senior night performance and looking ahead to Las Vegas. I started the conversation asking Coach Pope what the environment and support on Saturday from an almost 16,000 person crowd meant to him.
It's incredible. Cougar Nation is incredible. And, you know, we haven't, you know, had our most successful season so far. And for this gym to be the way it was tonight again is just really incredible. And I'm just so grateful that Cougar Nation recognizes how special these guys are, and because they're doing special stuff on the court, and they're doing even more special stuff in our community, and that's the way it felt tonight. It felt like people showed out to support these guys, and that doesn't happen very many places in the country, so we're really grateful.
This team seemed to play with an extra fire tonight. What went into that this week?
Well, it's not been an easy road, and you know, it's you know, there's so many team meetings and one-on-one meetings and speeches and so much work on the court, and you know, when that starts to wear thin, you know, it just comes down to guys' character and their insides, and I was really proud of the guys tonight. You know, there was a lot of fight. I thought Gideon got us off to a great emotional start, and I thought Rudy was unbelievable the whole game long, and you know, those two's leadership is vital. When those two lead this team, we're really good, and so I was really proud of them tonight.
You've been chasing the complete game all season, and I'm not sure if this was it, but how close are you to the complete game?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think that's elusive for your lifetime, but you know, this is a really, really explosive team, and I thought that our defensive attention was pretty spectacular. We end up forcing a lot of late shot clock shots that were super uncomfortable. I thought our guys on the perimeter did a great job. We had the benefit of San Francisco having to play on Thursday, and we didn't, so we were a little more rested. But you know, those are things that you have to take advantage of, and our guys did tonight.
There are so many stats that are eye-popping tonight for your team. You out-rebound your opponent by 20. You out-assist them 22-9. You win the game by 26. You only have 10 turnovers. Which stat do you like the most?
Well, it's super important for us with this team that we can, you know, if we could keep, you know, our goal is to stay under 13 turnovers, and the fact that we could be at 10 tonight, especially with a game that at times got really scattered, and we were able to just kind of hang in there and protect the ball, even though there were a couple shaky moments. That's really important to us. You know, the telling figures for us is when we dominate the offensive glass and we protect the ball, and when we really guard the three-point line. When we do those three things, we're pretty effective, and I think the guys were pretty functional in all those areas tonight.
You lock in the 5 seed. Not sure who you're going to play on Friday night. If you win that game, you get LMU on Saturday. How do you feel about your prospects and the way things are lining up in Vegas?
Yeah, you know, this whole season has just been worried about us. Like, we have so much to do with us, so we're just excited to get to Vegas. And listen, every single team going to Vegas has to go win a game. Everybody has to go win their first game, and so everybody's facing the same challenge. And we're not, you know, we're not going to take any baggage with us there. This is fresh. Our guys should feel good. I think they feel pretty together. And we're going to go take a massive swing at this, and that's what's fun about postseason play, is you get a chance. And so this is a nice springboard for us to spend the next couple of days, you know, feeling good and feeling confident and feeling really hungry.
You already referenced the 2 seniors in Gideon George and Rudy Williams, but I do want to ask you a little bit more about them specifically. Let's start with Rudy. What has he meant to your team this year coming in for his final season?
Yeah, you know, it's really amazing. Rudy is been a generational teammate. Like when I say that, what I mean is like I've said this over the past month. I'll be talking about Rudi Williams for the next 10 years here as an example of what it means to be a teammate that is putting the team in front of himself. And he's a terrific player. He's so talented. He's had to grow into a completely new position as a super senior. He's had to start all over. He's done an unbelievable job. Like the progress he's made is incredible, but he's always made it about his guys. And he's been the most incredible mentor to Dallin Hall, and he's brought so much joy, not just to our locker room, but to the Rock and to this campus and this community. He's really special. We've been really blessed to have him.
I saw you put your arm around him and have a conversation with him before you walked into the locker room. Maybe that's between you two, but if not, what are some of the things you said to him?
Well, you know, he just gets 1 year. It's so short, and he's had an incredible life now. It has not been an easy life. He's been faced with unbelievable challenge after unbelievable challenge, and he's worked so hard and sacrificed so much to get here. And I just want him to take a second and just breathe, because, you know, there's very few people that get to stand on this court after a night like tonight, a senior night like tonight, and after a performance like he gave tonight against, you know, an incredibly talented backcourt in San Francisco. And you just want to just take a moment and just recognize, you know, and I'm happy for him.
And finally, Gideon George, I thought, summed it up beautifully when he addressed the crowd and said, "I'm so grateful to God to be alive and to play basketball." What has he meant to your program?
Well, you know, it's really interesting because he's been such a, you know, Gideon has not had an easy road. You think about it, he left his home. You know, he hasn't had a chance to see his extended family, his immediate family besides his brother in years now. Came here all by himself, and all on his own. And you think about what he's built. You know, he's sent 15,000 shoes over the last 2 years to his community in Minna that's really saving kids' lives. I mean, I know that sounds, but it's the #1 source of transmission of disease is through people's feet. And he's actually a business owner now in Nigeria, running his own cab company, and he's galvanized the community. What was pretty amazing is people have embraced his mission so much that all year long, we have people sending in shoes, and it's driving me crazy because they're coming out the lockers, they're coming out the storage room, and I'm like, we got to get to the next shoe drive so we can get rid of these. But he just, you know, he's just brought something really unique and really incredible to this BYU community, and you know, I know the people in this gym really appreciate that. I know there's some people that can't really see that, but what he's done here is he's been changed by BYU, and he's changed BYU for the better too, and that's pretty incredible.
Well, congratulations to you and your team on a great senior night win, and here's to some shoe cleanup moving forward and more shoe drives.
Well, no, he said he's running again next year, so
thanks, Coach.
It's a good problem. Thanks.
I hope Gideon George and Rudi Williams have at least 3 more games at BYU, if not 4 more. 3 in the West Coast Conference Tournament at least.
And a couple in the NCAA tournament.
Oh my goodness.
In the NIT.
That would require at least 5 more games, and I'd be okay with that too.
We'd all be okay with that.
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, join us live from Las Vegas starting Thursday through Tuesday, I believe. Oh, Thursday through Monday on the go. There you go. We will have full coverage of all 4 games Thursday and Friday. We have the 2 women's games Saturday and Monday. BYU Sports Nation live from Vegas as well. Dave, Blaine, Chris, and Spence, Tyler, and myself. It's going to be a fun tournament. We got some juice going into it. Join us on BYU TV Thursday through Monday, the West Coast Conference Tournament.
Let's get nostalgic with our rise and shout-out, shall we? That's up next on BYU Sports Nation.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Accidents don't just happen 9 to 5. They happen when you least expect them. The team at Siegfried & Jensen is here for you 24/7. Nights, weekends, every day, every hour. Really here for you. No matter when you call us, you'll speak to a real person and have access to the same expertise and personal attention as always, and get the legal help you need when you need it. Nights, weekends, every day, every hour, 24/7. Learn more at siegfriedandjensen.com.
You know, the passion that the BYU fans bring is unique. The fans, they contribute so much to our team and help our players kind of get refocused. The fans are so close that they feel a part of the team. It's really a benefit to our guys. They mean everything to our program. Men's volleyball, it is about the fans.
The Oakland A's are not a sound baseball team.
Dad, there's no way you're gonna lose your job, right?
Your goal shouldn't be to buy players. Your goal should be to buy wins.
We're gonna shake things up. You are outside your mind. Dab to die.
They are the story in sports in this entire country.
You may not look like a winning team, but you are one.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
This program, BYU Sports Nation, is on demand. You can download the free BYU TV and BYU radio apps, or download the podcast, maybe both if you want. Subscribe, rate, and review.
Now, typically, we'd be discussing how badly I lost in fantasy basketball over the week, but it's not technically over because...
It's not over. We got a game today.
The women's basketball team has to play Portland, and I picked Alex Fowler from Portland as my 5th player on my team this week.
She a baller.
She's really good, but she's not going to help me make up a 60-point deficit.
We could see a WCC record tonight of 0 points for about. No, we'll see.
Oh, you're up 59 points going into today's game. Yeah, Fowler will give me 30, but
yeah,
you're going to win probably by 30 or 40. So congratulations.
I haven't yet yielded on the. Let's do a line on this.
I said the line needs to be at like 30.
You said 24. I don't think I'm willing to commit to 24. We'll think about it.
Our lead voice of the day presented by PAX Healthcare Elevated. How did Saturday's win change your outlook on BYU in the West Coast Conference Tournament? Bradley Perkins on Facebook says, made all the difference in the world.
Absolutely.
Puts that dreaded Pepperdine on the other side of the bracket.
Pepperdine.
So soonest BYU would have to play Pepperdine is in the championship. That's a great point.
Pepperdine's going to be out night 1, probably.
Thankfully BYU doesn't have to play him.
Good response.
Today's Rise and Shout Out presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
Rudy Williams, Gideon George, fantastic senior night. Way to go out on top. Like a great performance from both, and BYU won a big game. That was fantastic.
Yeah, it felt
cool
good. It was a feel-good moment. Feel-good minutes.
We're here for that in sports.
Our thanks to today's guest, Rudi Williams.
Sorry to Dennis Pitta, we ran out of time.
For Jerem Jordan, I am Spencer. Shout out to Travis Hansen. We'll see you tomorrow for a brand new edition of BYU Sports Nation as we prepare for maybe San Diego or Portland.
Portland tonight, baby.
That's right. Women's basketball. Join us. Go Cougs.